Before we start today's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to Zencaster, which is a podcaster's best friend. Trust me when I tell you this, Zencaster is like a Shopify for podcasters. It's all you need to get up and running as a podcaster. And the best thing about Zencaster is that you get so much stuff for free. If you're planning to check out the platform, then please show your support for the Founder Thesis podcast by using this link, zen.ai/founder thesis. That's zen.ai/founder thesis.
Hi everyone. I am Neel Kothari. I'm the CEO and founder for iZooto, a push notification platform based out of Delhi.
एक मिनट रुक जाओ रेडी होने दो चलो ये कर लेते हैं दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट इंट्रो
There are two ways to build a startup. One is through cash burn, which requires you to raise a lot of money and onboard deep pocketed backers. And the other is by bootstrapping it, which is arguably a lot more difficult, but also a lot more fulfilling and sustainable. This episode is a masterclass in building a startup the hard way by bootstrapping it. Like any IIM graduate, Neel Kothari also started his journey with a management trainee job in a top corporate. But his desire to learn and grow led him to join a startup in the mobile VAS space, which is in itself a fascinating story. That experience eventually led him to start iZooto, which touches the lives of more than 1 billion people who consume news on the internet. Listen on as Neel tells Akshay Dutt about how it all started.
During those 3 years also in Airtel, one is I always saw myself as extremely entrepreneurial. I was not a typical employee even at Airtel. I was always very entrepreneurial. Would go out of my way to make sure that things happen, move things. Had the guts to walk up to anyone, talk, figure out things on my own, etc. So I was looking for an opportunity in a smaller company where I could be an important person. So in my mind, I wanted to be among the important person in the organization, and I was okay with a smaller company. I somehow in my mind I could never weigh the risk of going to a small company. Honestly, I always thought that I will be able to navigate even if there are so financial risk. I was not exposed to the financial risks of working in a small startup or a smaller company.
But then that IM tag also helps, right? Like you know that you have a market value because of that. Like
Yeah. I somehow in my mind I always knew that if this doesn't something a smaller this kind of entrepreneurial effort doesn't work out, I'll go back to a job. Airtel was too. One of the things with Airtel at that time was that every other day you would get a call from some consultant that are you looking for a job. So recruiter. So in your head you know that you can find a job outside. It's not a big deal to find a job. And this I'm talking about 2009. 2009 is when I joined a startup in a travel space. They'd just raised at that time they'd raised 2 million in seed, which was I thought was a lot of money. And this was a company called, it never got launched. It was called Rang7, RANG7.com. It was one of the Indian, I don't know if you know the Orbit's story in US. Airlines together invest in a travel portal. The background to that is that travel portals, Expedia had become so powerful that Expedia or some of the other guys were selling some 30-40% tickets of the airlines. And then they would, because they had so much of demand power, they would go out there and tell airlines to pay them more, or they will shut them down from the search engine. So then all the airlines in US got together and created a company called Orbits, where airlines said we will own equity. And then eventually Orbits got listed. So slightly complicated structure from a equity perspective, but it was very powerful. From a thought perspective, it was very powerful. So we attempted to do the same. I was one of the four people who was a co-founder. I was not the main guy for sure. And four of us got together. It was led by a guy who had spent a lot of time in Orbits, in the finance function, in the strategy functions. So he knew how to get this done. So he tried replicating the same model in India. And Indigo was on board, SpiceJet was on board, Go Air had signed as well. The most interesting thing is Air India signed up, government signed up, but Kingfisher said no, and because he said that I am going to do it myself. So we were in a room with Vijay Mallya, and he said that sorry, I'm going to do it myself otherwise. And the entire concept is that it has to be done by an independent party. It cannot be owned by, from a funding perspective, it cannot be owned by an airline. And but it just did not work out, and we ran out of money. We were able to launch a portal, and we were able to do some bit of PR as well, but times were such that we were just not able to execute the whole thing. We chose wrong technology partners. We were not able to scale up the team. We were not able to close the convo, though we had the agreements with these airlines, but these airlines did not support as much as we thought. So it just did not work out eventually, and we had to shut down. And I moved out. It was for the first time in my life during those. I think I spent some 20 months over there. By the time in last few months, I actually started feeling a little insecure because I knew what the bank and cash balances are, and my insecurity was not for me personally, but we had some 30, 40 employees at that time, and 50 employees, and I thought, and we had to make payments to the vendors and stuff like that, and those were getting delayed, and some of those vendors and commitments were made by me, and then I had a team of 7-8 people at that time. So yeah, I started feeling really insecure at that time because of low cash, and I thought this is not something I can really take. As I can work hard, I can work very hard, but I cannot take this insecurity. And first time I also had a bit of realization that the financial security is so important to run a business. Financial security in life is important, but even to have a business which is financially secure is extremely, extremely important to take right decisions. Otherwise, you end up taking very, very bad decisions because you're just fighting for that cash. So yeah. So I left that organization and after spending some 22 odd months, went back to telecom for another couple of years. I was
Which company then?
There's a company called SpectraNet. They were, I don't know if you've heard of SpectraNet. SpectraNet does the internet. So I was a product head over there. I was designing the pricing and how the product and how to sell in what markets, etc. SpectraNet is interestingly run by my classmate from school. So it was very easy for me to just call him up and say that I'm coming from tomorrow. He said, come. We'll figure out something. So yeah, SpectraNet, I spent almost 2 years at SpectraNet. Normal, boring job, a lot of work, but very little progress per se. They're in a very difficult category. So yeah, it was very, very slow.
Because they were competing against like much bigger competitors like Airtel and Reliance and Tata.
Absolutely. And very, very different challenges. Very, very different challenges. I never imagined while in Airtel, because you're with a leader, that you would have challenges that my network goes to the A block but doesn't go in the B block. So only sell to the A block and we won't be able to serve the B block because my fiber is not there. Airtel, we never had those conversations that my fiber is not there. I mean, Airtel would lay the fiber for the entire city. So smaller internet players have, I think it's a very, very difficult industry where you have to do so much of capex and then hope for revenue.
Yeah.
So capex doesn't guarantee revenue. You lay down the fiber in one area and then hope that people will sign up. If they don't sign up, then the fiber is waste. You've already wasted the capex. So very, very difficult industry. It was a normal job, a lot of hard work, very little results. Revenue would trickle. Every time you did a lot of efforts, revenue, the impact would be only this much. A very, very slight impact. So it was a tough job. Eventually I decided to move out after 2 years. Again, the startup bug of becoming an important person in a small company. One of my previous boss who was part of a VC firm, he introduced me to a company called VoiceTap Technologies. This is 2012, I guess. VoiceTap Technologies, and yeah. So
VoiceTap had this product of learning English and like learning stuff through voice, right? Like
yes. So VoiceTap, that's where I met Vivek. That's where I met Sachin, who are my co-founders right now. So that's where I met Shrikant as well. So VoiceTap was doing well in parts. We had 2 very good years.
How were they distributing it? Like, was it a
It was
pure B2C business, or was it like?
no. We were distributing it through VAS telecom operators. So VAS had its own challenges. We wanted to do the clean stuff. VAS is a dirty business. Was a dirty business at that time.
In what way? Like,
And they would VAS. I don't know how much you're aware about the entire VAS industry, but the entire industry was based on the charging pipes that were given out to various VAS vendors, right? And
what is
those
it?
VAS
Charging pipe? Like, what is that?
charging pipe is ability of a telecom operator to take out the 50 paisa from your or 1 rupee from your mobile phone, right? Without you necessarily confirming, right? So at that time it was rampant, absolutely rampant. Telecom operators had given the ability to charge its subscribers to hundreds of vendors. So vendors would simply, without any consent, would simply take out the money from. Let's say they have the list of entire Delhi prepaid subscribers of Airtel. They would take out 20 paisa or 50 paisa from the entire base.
Okay.
Right. So 1 million people paying 50 paisa, you have made your revenue for the day, but they've not offered any service. So vendors across India, vast vendors across the country were doing this. And this was not an Airtel problem or a Vodafone problem. This was the industry problem. That's how the entire industry was, the VAS industry. The usage of you won't believe this, the actual usage of the product which was supposedly being bought was less than 0.5%. So the games or the caller tunes or pundit service or jokes that were being sent by Airtel,
cricket scores.
yeah, only 0.5% was genuine charging. 99.5% were all fraud charging. So we as a company tried to while in Airtel, I obviously did not know this. I never got exposed to that part of the business. In VoiceTap, once we went live with all these, we were live. The product was integrated with Airtel, with Vodafone, with Tata Docomo, and with Reliance as well. That took a bit of time, but once the VAS billing started happening, the revenues grew rapidly. At some point in time, we realized that these revenues are not genuine. These are being done by us or through the mechanisms where the usage itself is so low. We started making efforts to build other distribution mechanism, right? While the VAS continued, the other distribution invested a lot in building other distribution mechanism. But honestly, at that time, everything was a challenge. From payment gateways to ability to reach to the people to the quality of the entire digital ecosystem was not ready for. We built beautiful content. A lot of good content was built, but the other distribution never scaled up.
The content was around what, like learning English, or was there other stuff also?
They were learning English. There were a lot of other stuff, a lot of general knowledge stuff.
So it was like in a way like a edtech, but an audio edtech. Was that it, or like?
Yes. And there was also an app. It was called Tutoron Mobile. App had lots and lots of videos aggregated from multiple places, aggregated from a lot of video vendors, education video vendors. The app was available on Play Store. App was available through Airtel Play Stores and Tata Docomo. They weren't really Play Stores, but on their app. So there was a lot of video content.
And it was like a subscription model, and figuring out how to get subscribers to pay was the challenge here. Like
that's correct. That's correct.
Easy
the
way.
Moment, yeah. The moment you at that time, there was no way we were able to sell overall. I think in 3 years of our effort, we were able to sell some 2,000 packs of English on mobile. And this was massive effort, going to Meru cars, going to various cab drivers, putting booths at various places in the city, running ads in metro, running ads in on radio. So a lot of stuff we did, and we were selling a pack for, I think, $800, $899 or something, or $999, something like that. And after massive effort of 2 years, I think overall we were able to sell around 2,000 odd packs. But the VAS business was continuing. That was doing a good, very good run rate. But that wasn't running because of the product. That was running because of the integration you had and the way. So we tried pivoting that business to a lot of other stuff as well. We launched more products with Airtel around coupon distribution, around discounting products, etc. So the journey was going on, but real value was not getting built honestly. So sometime in 2015 is when Mrigank moved out because of multiple issues with the investors in the boardroom and between the investors themselves, and there were lots and lots of disputes in the boardroom. And from the company side, it was me and Mrigank in the boardroom. So I was the silent witness to everything that was happening in those boardrooms. I think so. Sometime in 2015 is when Mrigank moved out and he created his own education tech business, and I was made the CEO of the company. And company ran for another 1 year, but the revenues were happening. We were profitable. There were no financial challenges per se, but it was directional, absolutely directionless. We were getting revenues from 5, 6 different sources. We were hardly a technology business. We were more of a trading. So that in sometime 2016, me, Vivek, and Sachin, we were together in that business. We decided let's start building from scratch. Anyways, we had very very little stake in that business. So the entire stake was with the investors and Mega. So there was no point in running that business anymore. So that's when we came together and started iZooto.
So this was like 2015ish, somewhere around that time.
Yeah. 2016 is, I think the best thing that came out of VoiceTap was that we founders found each other.
Yeah.
Me and Vivek, me and Sachin and Shrikant, we found each other. And we were all thinking similar things at the same time. So
What was it that you were thinking? Like,
so one is leaving VoiceTap. There is no way that we can continue here. The second thing we could see, and in our last year with VoiceTap, we had started working with e-commerce businesses on the affiliate side, getting them customers through telecom inventory. And one of the things we realized that these companies are acquiring so many customers, but everyone was talking about acquisition. Nobody was bothered about engagement or retention. And we knew that at some point in time that all of these companies are going to start thinking of retention, would have a CRM team, they would start thinking of a lifetime value of the user. And there is definitely going to be a massive play in helping these companies retain the customers that they are acquiring, because they were spending so much money on acquiring those customers, so much of discounts, so much money being paid to the coupon guys or the affiliate companies to acquire each and every customer. We knew that there is going to be a massive shift in retaining all of these customers, and we need to start building a marketing platform or a CRM kind of platform which helps these e-commerce companies to retain those customers. So we were all thinking the same thing. Sorry.
yeah, what kind of e-commerce companies are you talking about? Are you talking about, say, like a regular Flipkart and like those?
Yeah,
Or was it like Zomato and Make My Trip?
No. Fashion e-commerce were. Yeah, Jabong was a customer, Myntra was a customer, and that I'm sure you would remember 2016 to 19, there was just such massive surge in 18 was such massive surge in fashion e-coms. There was Fashion and You, there were just so many. There was
Zivame, yeah.
Yeah, there were just so many out there. I think there were just the known brands were 30, 40 out there. And we were working with 10, 15, at least with 10, 15 of them. And we knew that at some point in time, all of these guys are going to move from an acquisition mode to a retention and a lifetime value mode. And there was definitely a massive opportunity.
So retention, like say Amazon's way of retention is that Prime subscription in which you get a lot of stuff in that bundles.
Correct.
So are you talking of something like that, or like what does retention mean?
No. So retention here, at least at that time, it meant that once they've onboarded me as a user, once Snapdeal is onboarded or Fashion and You has onboarded Neel as a user, and they've spent so much of money to get me once, what are they doing with this customer again, right? How are they going to make Neel do the second transaction and then the third transaction and then the fifth transaction, right? The game of acquiring for the first time, getting your app downloaded, getting the first transaction done was being attempted by so many people in the market, and so many companies were helping these e-commerce companies. But who was helping them get the second transaction from the same person or the third transaction?
So which essentially is like pushing personalized offers, like based on the search history.
Absolutely. Pushing personalized offers, making him open the app or come back on the website again. personalizing the entire experience for them, and then making sure that the entire thing is smooth enough for him to purchase again.
So, what was it that you wanted to build here, like the
Uh,
product? And
So we our initial thoughts were so much around emails, right? But in 2016, I think sometime in August or September or July, I think Google allowed web push notifications on mobile web and app, mobile web and desktop web, and we knew that this is going to be massive, right? That is exactly when we also we said that this is the time to move out. We closed the voice tab. We started a new company, got some 10, 12 people who were already working with us to resign from that company, come to us and started this business. We developed a platform within 2 months. I think we got our first customer, which was Jabong, for paying us and make him pay 2 lakh rupees just for web push notifications at that time, right? And web push notification at that point in time, it was because it was so new to the people. It started within first 6 months. It started driving some 15%, I think 12% of the sales for Jabong, right? And these were the people who had already purchased once, and Jabong was pushing out new offers to those people to come back and buy again, right? That was a massive, massive boost for us. While we were onboarding very small clients, but Jabong was the first large client who really experimented and absolutely loved the product.
how did the customized offers happen? Was it that you provided a platform and then the team would select, okay, send this to this cohort, send this to this cohort, and they would do rest of the work? Or did you also read each customer's profile and then read the inventory and then do a mapping?
At that time, no. In 2 years, we were able to develop a platform which would sit very closely in their ecosystem to send out the best offer possible based on his previous history of search and his previous history of transaction. But at that time, it was a very simple platform. You pick up an offer and push it out. So that's how it started. We've been able to build a lot of personalization.
So essentially, that time it was like a MailChimp for notifications. Like you could,
That's correct.
a marketeer could have like a easy to use dashboard through which he could create a push notification campaign and run it and track it.
Absolutely. That's how it started. Very, very basic. And then over a period of time, we went deeper into e-commerce. But in the third year of our existence, I think end of second year and beginning of third year, so first 2 years were crazy with e-com. There wasn't a single e-com in this country, and I used to proudly say that not a single e-com in this country which was not using iZooto. And you name the e-com and a large e-com, and they were using us. Any e-com that you can remember which existed between 2007 and 2017-18 was using iZooto.
So like Zomato, Swiggy, fashion, all of these like across.
Fashion, Zomato, Swiggy, no. Fashion e-commerce.
Okay. Fashion, got it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Fashion and the shop clues, Snapdeals of the world.
So got it. Okay.
So marketplace.
But why not get into Zomato, Swiggy, and those like say airlines like these travel?
So
these are big.
No, we were doing that as well. Yeah. So Make My Trip was using us. Go Air was using us. So we got into all kinds of categories. HDFC was using us. They still use us. So all kinds of categories. We went as horizontal as possible. We said if you have a website which does transaction, we want you to use iZooto. Zomato, Swiggy were a lot more app play, right?
Right. Yeah.
We did not have an app notification platform, but web, we were with everyone. With OLX was using us, for example. So we went really, really horizontal. But within the fashion e-com space, we were with everyone. Hooves, Tata Click, everyone was using us. So,
and did you like bootstrap it, or did you raise funds for this initial period?
No, we've not raised capital till date at all. We've been completely bootstrapped, 100% bootstrapped. The first few months, we took out money from our bank accounts and paid to our employees. On day zero, we had 12 employees in the company and the 4 founders, so 16 of us. Each one of us took out money from our bank accounts to pay. First 3 months, fourth month is when we started getting our some monies in, but absolutely bootstrapped, absolutely no debt and no funding.
So like you were able to, like, by when were you able to pay founder salaries? Like by when did you reach that stage?
Well, 12 months.
Wow, that's pretty fast. Okay.
12 months, but Not the full blown founder salaries. I think from the third year onwards is when we've got a little comfortable and paid us slightly more generously. But in the 12th month, we started paying 1 lakh to each of the founders.
And so, like, what was your average selling price per deal? Like,
it was $1,000 plus.
Okay. And what kind of run rate did you do, like, in those first 2-3 years?
We'd got to some 40 lakhs a month kind of business.
By which year? Like,
in our second year, first year, I remember clearly, end of the 12th month, we were doing 8 lakhs a month. And end of the second year, we were doing around 40 lakhs a month.
So then how did the product evolve? Because I think, the browser based push notification cycle is pretty much on the downward side now, right? Like,
so it's very interesting how we evolved as a product. One is it's not on a downward side, it's just changing, it's maturing, right? Just like emails have matured and you have to evolve. And there was a time when there were just so many companies who were trying to be MailChimp, right? But as the environment keeps on getting tighter, only few survive. So in our third year, we realized that we started losing e-commerce customers to more engaged, web engaged, CleverTap of the world, because these guys came in with a larger platform with a lot of personalization that you were talking about. They had app push, they had email, they had web push, they had on page.
Okay.
So they were solving a massive problem of personalization across channels and the website.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So they had a full stack solution.
They had a full stack, and we were just a web push, right? So we had a choice. One was that we create a full stack, and go out there and raise capital, and then create a full stack, because these guys, that costed money, and also the fact that our realization was that this space is now will be competed by more engaged, web engaged, CleverTap only. They also made a lot of other similar products shut down. Right. Just couple of million raise was not good enough, because these guys were massively funded. These guys were raising 35 million, 50 million, 100 million kind of funds. And some of the players there was a player called Beta Out, and there were a couple of other guys who would raise million, 2 million. They were no way, they were being dragged, completely pushed out of the market. And at the same time, we realized that the impact that we are able to make on publishers as a business is huge. We had gone live with a publisher called Bhaskar. I don't know if you've heard of that newspaper, Bhaskar.com.
Yeah. Dainik Bhaskar.
So they have a website called Bhaskar, right? And then we had also gone live with Indian Express, right? And we used to get a lot of love from these customers, right? The big problem these guys had, that they were not willing to pay us a lot of money, because publishers as a business is a business where they don't make much money.
Yeah.
Right. Because of extremely high competition in the entire space. So, but we knew that we are able to make a significant impact. The second thing that we knew, that these CleverTaps of the world are not going to get into this space.
Okay, because it's low margin.
It's low margin. They're going to focus on retail, right? Because the way they had built their products was to serve the retail, the e-commerce, the
commerce, basically.
Yeah. So we took a very conscious call that let's focus on publishers and start onboarding more and more publishers. One, it was a completely white space. We had to go out there and educate the market, just like we were educating 2 years back the e-coms. So when you educate the market, you also get the first, they also onboard you as the first platform, right? One is that. Second is, we knew that these massively funded companies would not like to go to a publisher who just wants to pay $1,000 or less than $1,000, right? Or just doesn't want to pay anything. In India, if there are 10,000 news publishers, only 20 have capability to pay a platform fee.
Right.
Rest just want to have any tool for free, and you have to figure out how do you want to make money from that. We also changed our pricing model. We figured out that we'll have to sell it for free. Can we sell it for free? And can we make money from other means? Can we make money from data? Can we make money from advertisements? Because these publishers are fairly open to those thoughts, but what they are not open to is paying you monthly. So we picked up this category, started developing the product, which was completely focused on publishers, made lots and lots of changes. Today, our product, 3 years since that time, today our product is completely publisher focused. We know what we can do for publishers. No other platform can do that. We have a lot of features which editors love. We have a lot of features which are solving the use cases of the publisher. So one was that expansion. Second expansion was a very natural expansion, which was getting more channels. Web push is one channel. Can we do app push? Can we do emails? Can we do more and more channels, which are relevant for publishers, not for e-com, right? And third push was on the geo side. We started selling in Southeast Asia. We started selling in US. We've just started selling in MENA. So in last 3 years, we've opened close to now 6, 7 countries for publishers only. And we go out there and research countries where there is little or no competition. And we go out there and educate those markets on what we can do, why marketing platform is needed by the publishers, and what is the impact that we can make. And with the pricing which is zero as well, or we end up in there are contracts where we pay the publisher for using our platform. So
Wow. Okay.
we take certain advertising opportunity and we maximize on that. So we figured out our niche in the entire market, and that's how we are making the business right now, focused on publishers across multiple channels.
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Gaana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
So, did you start seeing a revenue drop when CleverTap MoEngage came in, like around 2018-19?
Yeah, we overall basis, no, we never had revenue drops. We've always grown, but we started losing a lot of e-commerce customers. We lost Jabong, we lost Myntra. Jabong we lost to MoEngage. Myntra we lost to WebEngage. We lost OLX. We lost Tata Click to, I think, WebEngage again. So every month we started losing 2 or 3 commerce businesses. We started losing banks to CleverTap. There was a time when we were live on Kotak, we were live on HDFC, we were live on ICICI, we were live on IndusInd. So we were live across multiple banks as well. We were live on a lot of aggregators as well. But within 12 to 24 months, every month we would lose 3 or 4 of these customers. But because we were expanding so fast on the publisher side, we never saw the dip in the revenues, but we saw a lot of churn.
So, I want to understand like how you figured out monetization. What are the, and like you said that you were even open giving it free, and so tell me that how that happened. Like,
Monetization happened in a very interesting way. One is publishers taught us that they taught us that they are not going to pay for it.
yeah, okay, like initially you were trying to sell subscription, they kept saying
Of
no.
course. They would say we love the platform, but we can't pay. And I knew when we went out, and I personally have met more than 600 publishers in India. Honestly, I've personally spoken and met. I've traveled the length and breadth. I've traveled to obscure places in South India to meet those publishers. Everyone in Noida publishing companies, everyone knows me. I've knocked on their doors. So I've done this sales myself. So, and in a lot of
One quick
conversations,
sec. Can you define what is a publisher here? I'm thinking publisher as like news websites. Is that
yeah,
right?
publisher has news websites. Yeah, publisher has news website. And then we also, as of today, we also consider, for us, publisher is anyone who's making money from advertising.
Okay. So even a podcasting like what we are doing. That
Yes, you have publisher for
qualifies,
us.
yeah.
Yes.
Right. Got it.
Yes.
Take it.
So it's a podcast is brand new way to publish content, but news remains the biggest category on internet.
So you were telling me you met people across the country.
Yeah, so met publishers across the country in various cities. We met them, spoke to them, personally made those cold calls, and convinced them to start using the platform. One thing that I realized very quickly, outside of the top 5, 7 publishers, the next 15 were ready to pay, but were extremely uncomfortable. And beyond the 20, there is no way that someone called Prabhat Khabar is sitting in Ranchi is going to pay you money.
Right.
They can't. They cannot. And they won't. They would not use the product, or they will figure out some free product which serves the same purpose. 2018 was also the time when globally there was there's a product out of US called One Signal, which was offering web push for free. So these publishers were happier using that product, though it limited them on various things. did not have, and it required massive effort from their editorial team, but they were not even ready to pay $100 for it. So
One Signal's free version was just like a lead gen. Like they were not monetizing in any other way. They were saying, okay, 100 use for free, 10 will pay. So
yeah. They were just building that base, and then after 1 or 2 years, they started putting a lot of limits. They would only deliver 10,000 notifications. If you have subscribers more than 10,000, they would only show you 10,000, the latest one. Then they started putting a lot of limits, which I knew would happen at some point in time. But we realized that these guys are not going to pay, and they would rather use a crappy free product which is not made for them. But because it is free, it works for them. So we had to figure out how do we monetize. I started the way it started was because of our affiliate. We were doing some kind of affiliate business, and we were in touch with some of these e-commerce companies. So we walked up to these e-commerce companies and said that, can we run a campaign on push notifications for you? Can I? And I took the permission from some of these obscure publishers and saying that, can I send out a notification, a sponsored notification to your base? Right. And e-commerce companies are always open, so that was not a problem. The publisher said, okay, if you're going to give it to me for free, and I will allow you to send it. So that's how we started monetizing, and we started generating some amount of money. Then I did not have much background in the entire advertising tech, honestly. But one day I end up meeting a guy. He runs a company out of Pune, a fairly popular native platform. He saw us on a couple of websites which he works with as well. And he called me up and said that, if I get you the campaigns, would you run it on push notifications for me? And I said, we will. And he said that, let's do it, but we will do an integration. I can't give you the campaigns offline. We will do an integration. And we did that integration. It just worked. And suddenly in a single day, we started doing some $500, $700 a day. And I knew that this is going to scale up. This can be scaled up massively. And we had solved the problem where publishers were okay sending ads, but they were not okay paying. So we said, this works. And it just opens up everything for us, because we can go to even the smallest of publishers with the same proposition. Right. We don't have to limit ourselves to the large enterprise publisher. So that's how monetization got cracked. Once we had this Pune-based company who started monetizing with us, I figured out who their competition is, their global competition. We started talking to them. I think we were globally the first one to monetize push notifications. We in fact introduced it to some of the largest native players out there in the world in 2018. And we taught them how the integration would work. My CTO taught them how the integration would work, what kind of feed would we require, how would we personalize the entire ad for the people if we can. So, and that was a big trigger for us to go out there and start talking to publishers all over the world.
This company and other companies like the Pune-based company, these are like ad networks, like say InMobi, like companies which have a customer base that want to spend money on advertising. Like these are the kind of companies you tied up.
These are ad networks, Akshay, but they are what they call as native ads. Native ads look like
if you have a free game, like if you download a game on Android, there's a small little banner at the bottom advertising something.
No, they're not these guys. No, that's not the one. But if you're ever reading news, at the end of the news article, you may also like.
Yeah, like Taboola.
Yeah. So Taboola and Outbrains of the world, yes.
Okay.
So
okay.
they're called native ads, and native ads work well on notifications.
Why is native ad a different industry? Why is it not just ad? Like what is unique about these companies like Taboola, Outbrain? Why does the word native come in here? Just help me understand.
Native, the entire concept on how it started. Now they look very different, honestly. But the entire concept, how native ad was started, was there's this theory that if you're reading about, let's say, financial product, if you're reading about a financial product, you're most likely to look for an insurance at that time. That's the theory of a native ad, right? It's native to the content, right? So if you're reading about an article on car, you're most likely to look for a test drive at that time. So make it contextual to the content. That's the theory of it. It evolved into a very clickbaitish content saying that you will see those ads. Somebody in Noida has earned 50,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So then, over a period of time, native became the advertising medium for companies which could not advertise on Facebook. And some of these categories are not allowed on Facebook or Google. So a lot of health ads are not allowed on Facebook. Crypto is not allowed. A lot of other ads which are not, a lot of other categories which are not allowed on Google. It became the go-to advertising platforms. The other companies which really loved the results of native was a lot of financial products, the lead generation products, right? The credit cards or they perform much better compared to a display ad, because you can put in a lot of content along with the messaging is very different. So that's why native has been fairly successful.
But that original premise that if you're reading an article about a car, you're likely to agree for a test drive, that is something which Google also delivers today, right? Like through their ad network.
Google also has a native product. So native itself has evolved. I think it's now it just doesn't make sense. It's just it's a placement. It's a content placement below as part of the other content, and it is very clickbaitish, and it usually suits ads where you want to pass on a bigger message than just an image. That's where it is.
Okay. So essentially, that ad portrays itself as an article that you may also want to read. And when you read, then while reading it, you are getting convinced about whatever is their call to action.
Yes.
And so, essentially, what you are doing is, on the one hand, you are aggregating supply. Would you call the publisher supply, or would you call
we do not look at why we are getting our revenue from ads. We do not look on iZooto as a ad tech product at all, right? Notifications have a lot of utility for the editorial team of the publisher, right? And our focus as a business remains: how can we help editor maximize his engagement, get the user back on the website, make users read the right content, and maximize their own goals of driving more page views or driving more subscriptions, etc. Pushing out a sponsored content is a pricing strategy for us and nothing more, right? So we are very happy to go out there and ask for a platform fee or a hybrid model wherein we discount the platform fee and take a part of our ad revenue, or a free model with limited features. But the focus of the company, the focus of all employees is we need to drive the engagement bit, the actual use case of push notifications, which is editor sending out those content notifications.
So for an editor, they need products like this to drive engagement. For example, breaking news and whatever new articles they're releasing. And
I can tell you that when we walk into the offices of publishers, the hug that we get is from the editors. Not from the revenue guys. We don't like meeting revenue guys. That's not the mandate. The mandate is to meet the user it's the editor who is using our tool.
But for the native ad companies, you are essentially giving them supply.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
They look native ad companies will look on us as a supply partner. That's right.
And what are like the number of users that you can deliver to a native ad platform? Like, what is the number of eyeballs, or what is your inventory size? What are the metrics? I don't know what metrics are.
So we deliver. So our metrics are on the scale side. We are doing close to 10 billion notifications a day. Our 10 billion a day, which includes the content notification and the ad notification, the sponsored ad notifications. That makes it. We believe we are among the top 3 in the world in terms of scale. That's how we've scaled up the infra. We work with some of the largest publishers in India, in Southeast Asia, and now in MENA. So we work with all the big brands that you can think of. And the other, from a pure sponsored notification perspective, we do close to 200 million sponsored notifications a day. And we do more than 9 billion content notifications.
And how many eyeballs do you reach? Like, what is that number?
The unique eyeballs.
Yeah.
Unique eyeballs on a monthly basis. We are cooking around close to 2 billion people globally.
Wow.
They may not be unique. Obviously one of the things that we cannot do right now is track the same user on desktop and mobile.
Okay.
So you might be coming through desktop and mobile, and you can
Yeah.
count it as 2 users in my system. But we're cooking close to 2 billion users a month.
So which would mean at least 1 billion unique at the very least.
At the very least, it will be 1 billion. It's very funny. In some of the countries, in countries like Thailand and Philippines, we are cooking close to 70-75% of the population.
Wow. Why do you use this word cooking? Like
Every time. No, cooking is we every time somebody comes on a website, let's say you go on timesofindia.com, Times of India would place certain cookies to track your user behavior so that it can personalize the content for you. So our pixel gets when I say cooking, our pixel gets called out 2 billion times in a month, billion unique times a month.
I didn't understand this. Can you explain a bit more?
So my code gets my code is loaded 2 billion times a month. So that's the easiest. So my code's on. If I work with Indian Express, every time you go to Indian Express, there are multiple codes that will load, right? All the vendors, the ad partners, the notification partner, their codes will load, right? And each one of them may or may not put a cookie on you as a user to track your behavior on the Indian Express website. So our code is fired 2 billion times in a month.
So, but that doesn't mean 2 billion eyeballs then, no? Because the same person, if he comes every day, then he's counted 30 times.
No, I'm talking about 2 billion unique.
Okay, 2 billion unique. Okay. And so you don't have your own cookie loading when someone comes to Indian Express, but within the Indian Express cookie is where you get the data to do personalization.
You can say that.
So, which is why you don't know if this person is A, going to Indian Express, and then B, also going to Times of India, because
I would not do that. I am not, because we are a third party.
Right.
It can be done, but without the permission of the publisher, that should not be done. We don't.
Right. Okay. So what is the revenue split for you between sponsored notification versus subscription?
It is 60-40. 40% is subscription, 60% is sponsored.
And what do you see it trending towards?
It'll remain similar. It'll remain similar, because we are getting into developed markets now where publishers are slightly more comfortable paying the subscription fee. So we are spending a lot of our time and energy in MENA now, which is UAE, Saudi, these markets, and we also intend to grow in US. So my sense is it'll remain same. Obviously, slight 5% here and there can happen, but my sense is
okay. And these sponsored notifications are only for the browser notification, or like you said, you also got into app notification, email. So
app doesn't allow for sponsored notifications. Google Play Store doesn't allow for sponsored notifications. Interestingly, iOS does. Apple Store does.
Okay.
On the app side, we've tried, but we want to stay away from sponsored notifications on app. And we also have messenger notifications now, Facebook Messenger notifications. Again, Facebook has its own policy around sending out sponsored content. So we want to stay away from that as well.
There's an Indian Express bot on Facebook Messenger, which is giving news notifications, and in between, there would be a sponsored notification. Got it.
That's right. I don't think Facebook would allow that. So we want to stay away, just focus on the utility of the product itself and make sure that we are able to maximize on the utility for the publishers and figure out how the pricing will work with that.
So for the free users, then you would only give them web notification as a feature, because that is the only one you can monetize. For the paying subscribers, they get access to the full suite where they can.
Free users also get very limited number of notifications. We don't allow them to send more than 10 notifications a day. We also limit the features that we're offering them. We're developing So we're developing features like direct RSS integration. We've developed our own AI engine. So we've developed our own content recommendation engine. What we do is we take the entire feed of the publisher, of the news publisher. And every 1 hour we pick up, or every few hours we would pick up the right story and match the story with the user and automatically create a notification and push it out. No manual intervention.
So it goes on autopilot. The editor,
Absolutely.
the publisher doesn't need a separate team to do this. They just
Absolutely. And we also go and tell editor that we know you are very intelligent, you know the pulse of your user, but we will match every user with an article.
right,
So we know this sports article has to go to these 10,000 users and this political article has to go to 15,000. You don't need to do push to all.
right.
And you don't have to worry about notifications at all. We will do so we are moving towards automation of that. So those things obviously I cannot offer for free. It's a massive data effort. It's a massive infra effort as well. So, and then we have features like we've also created something called notification center. We call it news hub, where we're personalizing it to every user. If you go on the website, you will be able to see all the notifications that you've received since morning.
So that is powered by you, essentially, that page.
That's correct. That's correct. So we're doing. There are just so many other features. We also have a lot of other kind of automation available. So
Tell me about them. Like I love learning about product features.
Okay.
So,
all right. So we have something called video abandonment. Let's say you are watching a video and so publishers make money when you watch the complete video, right? They they're able to show you 2 or 3 ads. If it's a longer video, they will have an ad every 3 minutes or 4 minutes or something like that, or 5 minutes. And the problem with publishers is obviously nobody, because people are just so distracted. Nobody watches a video. They would just drop off from a video in 30th or the 40th second, right? So we track the user behavior and auto generate a notification saying you were watching this video, click and come back. Right. So similarly, just like everyone today has multiple tabs open on the desktop and the mobile, right? So you're reading a news article and you did not complete it, right? Automatically, we will start a notification drip on you unless you come back saying you were reading the article on Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi. Click here and come back to the article. So we've created some 20 odd, what we call these as playbooks. So these are fundamentally events on the publisher page where a user has not completed the expected behavior and we nudge him to complete that. So the other playbook is, let's say you're a publisher who sells subscription. And just like any sales process, there is a funnel and people drop off at various places. So let's say you chose a 7-day plan and just before the payment confirmation page, you dropped off. I will create a funnel on a drip on you saying you were about to complete this, click and come back. The second time I will push across a coupon to you saying 10% off if you complete this transaction in next 3 hours. The third time we will say we are missing you. Please come back and complete your subscription. Latest article has been published by your favorite editor. So any event on publisher's website, can we help him complete the expected behavior of the user, which he is not doing right now, which the visitor may have missed. And we're doing it at massive scale, right? With some of the publishers we work with, they have 100 million unique visitors in a month, right? So some of these news websites, very popular news websites, especially the Hindi ones, if the traffic that they get from the Hindi belt is crazy. Some of these guys get 70 million, 100 million unique visitors a month. So we're doing it for them at that scale. And even a 10% impact is massive. Is a massive impact for them.
So, like sometimes when your mouse is on a site and you scroll up to the address bar, you get a notification. So, do you do stuff like that also? And
Yeah.
So that is like intent to exit. So then you kind of
exit intent notifications. Just when you're exiting, we'll ask you, you may be interested in these stories. We do that as well. So yeah, I mean, publishers, you should buy. One of the reasons we chose publishers, we did a bit of a research. Out of thousands of marketing platforms out there, less than 40 are serving publishers. This is global. Every marketing platform in the world is being built for a commerce, retail, commerce, financial businesses. There are very few there are lots and lots of advertising platforms, advertising optimization and ad technology platform for publishers. It's extreme. Their publishers are extremely underserved on the marketing side. None of the publishers that I've ever met has a marketing department or a CRM
that's
department. True. If you go to any publisher, they do not call their website visitor as customers. They call them visitors.
Yeah, right.
We tell them start calling them customers. The moment you start calling them customers, you want to know more about your customers. You want them to come back again. You want to see the lifetime value of those customers. Don't call them just visitors. So it's a massive opportunity, I believe, which is going to further open up in next 5 years as the publishers mature.
How do you personalize the sponsored offer? Like based on the reading behavior? Like for example, if you know that this person is interested in sports, then he will get a car related notification offer.
So what we do is our capability is only till understanding the browsing behavior of the customer.
That like what he's reading on that publisher's site.
Correct. Or what the publisher site. If the publisher site itself is, let's say, only a car site, then it's very easy, right? Otherwise, we obviously know he's reading politics. He's read politics 3 times in the last 5 days or something like that. So our ability is only to pass on that information to the demand partner. And then we hope that the Taboola and Outbrain are able to run their algos to figure out the best possible demand for these guys. But in a country like India and Southeast Asia, where there is a oversupply of inventory and very limited demand, it's a massive mismatch. It's almost impossible to personalize the ad in India. It doesn't happen.
But why don't you do the personalization? Why do you leave it to the native ad platform? Because you would be able to look at their content and then marry it.
One is we do not have access to the demand directly. Right. All of these Taboola and Outbrains are two-side companies. They go out there and work with the agencies and the brands, and on the other side, they go and work with the publishers. We are very small. We want to remain focused on publishers as a customer, and not go out there and start fetching ads directly. I don't see that as our business. Honestly, our business is a marketing platform for publishers, and we want to remain like that. Advertising is just an option. Pricing option, and there are much bigger, better players than us who can do that job. We've been doing it for years and do a better job over there. So we just rely on them.
So and how do their algorithms run? What do they receive from you? Like they receive a spreadsheet which has customer profile and some behavior, and then they decide, okay, these 10,000 customers you push this to.
We ask for an ad. We tell them this website, the header information, which is the browser, the website, the device, right? And the IP, this location. And we've created buckets at our end. Buckets are on the browsing, browsing categories, which is politics, cricket, entertainment, Bollywood, etc. And we pass on the bucket to them, saying I have a customer in Delhi who's from the Indian Express, who is reading cricket, who reads cricket. And on a mobile, yes. I pass on this information to Taboola and ask, and they revert with an ad, which I pushed out. I don't get to view the ad in my system.
Because they obviously don't want to, they want that confidentiality with themselves.
No, it's not about that. It's just the fact that it's impossible to, when you're going to push out 200 million ads, it's impossible to look at the URLs that they're passing. And what they pass us is obviously the URLs, right? So it's impossible for my system to check each and every.
So URL with some call to action, right?
Yeah,
apply for a loan today and then click here or something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. But so, while I'm just wondering, why don't you become an ad tech company? Because at 1 billion users, you're, maybe bigger than say obviously Facebook has more reach, but then the next level of platforms like say Pinterest, I'm sure you're bigger than Pinterest, or even bigger than Twitter for sure. Twitter doesn't have 1 billion users, so And these are like
So
massive companies
my
with ad.
my own belief, and I think maybe you are right. We don't know, but my own belief is that we lose focus on the platform. We want to remain a technology company which is solving. We want to go deeper in the solving the marketing problem of the publisher.
Hmm, hmm. But you
Pricing
can do
would take-
both.
No, pricing would take care of itself. If I think of advertising as a pricing option, it will at some point in time I'll be focused so much on larger customers that I will let that pass on, right? If I can solve the massive problem that publishers have, which is being underserved on the marketing side, I would rather focus on building products and a robust platform on that side of the business rather than start building a platform which solves the advertiser's need, right?
No, so does this come from an aversion to raise funds? Because at the end of the day, if
Possible.
you have enough
Yeah,
money,
that's true.
because
Maybe yes, and also the aversion comes from the fact that I do not enjoy all, and I'm speaking on behalf of rest of the founders also. We've never enjoyed. We've had that relationship with the affiliate kind of relationship in our previous organization. I never enjoyed that business wherein my sales guy sitting at the agency offices waiting for a PO to come, and then we run that campaign, and then we send out invoices, and the payment comes in 180 to 40 days. It just becomes a very different, very massive effort and a big mindset change. As of today, when we do subscription business or this demand partner business, we either get our payments in advance or we get it in 30 days. End of story. So the entire business has been built on the fact that we do not have any collection guy in the office.
but then you have a billion users. You can dictate how the business gets to be built. You can tell, like, so crypto startups, okay, they are spending tons of money on TV ads. You can offer them a more targeted way. They all want to reach to tier 2, tier 3 locations. You have access to that. You can, I mean, you can dictate terms, no? You can tell them that this is upfront, you load a wallet, and then whatever. I mean, like,
I know.
because I mean, 1 million users is massive, and you're just sitting on a gold mine and you're not mining it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's what it seems to me.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot more ad tech companies who are pixel worse and pushing out their pixels to more than users. If your code is on timesofindia.com, you anyways will be pixeling so many, right? Or Indian Express or Bhaskar. So it looks like an opportunity, but it just opens up and maybe you're right, because we are averse to raising capital. We've remained bootstrapped and we're very happy like that. So we like what we are doing, and I think there are just in our own mind, I think there are problems with that business. We've seen those businesses and it becomes a very different effort.
You then also make a publisher's business more viable because you will be able to share more revenue with them. Like, you would probably be getting pennies from a tabula compared to if you directly go to a
Absolutely.
crypto startup.
Absolutely.
It'll be like pennies to dollars kind of difference, and that can be shared with the publisher. And I mean, it
Yeah,
can
yeah,
probably
absolutely.
be shared for sure. So which
Yeah,
gives
we
them,
get pennies. Absolutely pennies. Right. We get pennies from
so,
the outbreak of the world.
yeah, it gives your publishers the ability to thrive then based on that revenue.
Yes, but the problem happens is that, and again, you are right. That's one way to look at the business. But with publishers, we don't want to go and talk to the ad operations. We start competing with very different set of people. So unless this plan would work, if you're able to keep the focus on both the things at the same time, if we can focus on building a platform which solves the advertisers' need as well, and we start getting a lot of direct advertisers, but at the same time we do not lose focus on the publisher side and what we really want to solve for them. So as of now, I think the current bandwidth and the current plans that we have does not allow for that split focus.
So I hope some VC listens to this podcast and comes and convinces you to take his money and maybe do this.
I doubt we will do that. It's not happening. There are a lot of downsides. We sometimes get disturbed when we lose people and they leave the organization for more money, which is obviously right thing to do. But that's the only only time I think of raising capital and paying more salaries and getting the best talent from the market and retaining them. But in everything else, we're very happy bootstrap. Very, very happy bootstrap.
What is your currently revenue run rate? Like, what will you
We have
close this year at?
Yeah, this year we'll close at $5 million.
Wow. And okay, so couple of questions I've written here. Let me just quickly take a look at the. Okay, so this is like pretty much the like just towards the. I'm at the end of the questions I wanted to ask. So
Mhm.
I run a podcast, and can you tell me how I could benefit from iZooto, and as a prospective customer, what's your pitch to me?
As a podcast, do you have how do you distribute a podcast? Do you distribute it on LinkedIn, Facebook?
Yeah. Yeah. One part of distribution is you have these hosting services. And once you host on one of these services, like Anchor is one, and there are others. So once you host it there, then it gets distributed to the audio streaming apps. Like in India, you have Ghana, JioSaavn, and then globally, you have
Spotify,
Google,
right.
Apple, Spotify. So,
Right.
and hosting service will take care of hosting it and distributing it and, pushing the new episode to that app. So people who subscribe to the podcast on Spotify will get to see that there's a new episode out.
That's right. So, but tell me. So, let's say
We have a website where we have a widget that comes from our hosting service, and we have some content below it, like a blog with a playable widget on it on our website.
So what I can do is today you're completely dependent. Let's call all of these services as walled gardens, right? The user belongs to Ghana.com. It belongs to Spotify. It belongs to Google and Facebook. You are one among the million content providers to them. So they are aggregating all the content, the efforts that you have made. They are not making any effort, but they're presenting that content in a manner which it appeals to the user, because the buying process or the search process is discovery process is very simple. If from tomorrow because of some reason they stop giving you space in their aggregated platform, nothing will change for them. Everything will get destroyed for you, right? So as a content creator, it's very important that you also start creating your own email list, your own subscription list, push notification subscription list, so that you are over a period of time, you are able to reduce your dependencies on these walled gardens, right? And that's where iZooto comes in. We call iZooto as an owned audience marketing platform, right? So if you start using iZooto platform for your website, or in future if you're going to have an app, you can, every time you produce certain content, while you can distribute it to the walled garden and hope that somebody searches over there for you, you can also push out a notification or send across an email to your subscribers saying, I have released the new podcast, and before I release it to the world, there is a 5-day or a 1 week exclusively available for you. And you can create a lot of offers which you only want to serve to your users directly. This is your list. You can run a survey on this list. You can know more about these guys. You can know how many are male, female. You can customize your future content. It is almost impossible for you to know who's consuming the product for you on Ghana.com. I don't know how much would Ghana tell you that the people who consumed your product or your content were between the age of 30 and 40, and they've come from Delhi, and most of them were.
Yeah, you don't get any statistics here.
Right. So today, if you look at your distribution, it's a good way to start, but you're massively dependent on all of these guys, and you have no control on your consumer. If you want to control your consumer, you want to know everything about them, change your content strategy, take decisions, you need to control your consumer, and iZooto can help you start on that side. It may not solve all your problems, but it'll at least help you control the communication.
So, like, say we have like a WordPress site where every episode there's a little bit of text under it and there's a widget to play it.
Sure.
How will I enroll users onto the iZooto notification platform? Like
So you just need
how will I start the onboarding? Yeah.
All you need to do is with WordPress specifically, we have a plugin. You install that plugin, you go live with iZooto. Every time a user comes in, there is a prompt. User will be asked, do you want to subscribe to the notification of this website? Out of 100 people that come in, possibly 10 would subscribe on any given day. And once they start subscribing, we will expose a dashboard to you, wherein you can see those subscribers, how many you're getting from mobile, desktop, what cities, what countries are you getting it from. If you also allow us to track the behavior of those users, we can track which podcast are they consuming. If you allow us to track the consumption time of those users, we'll also create those playbooks which I was talking about. That here are three people who consumed only this much of the content, and you should send, and automatically the system will send out a notification. You were listening to Neel Kothari's podcast. Click and come back, right,
Right.
and listen to the full episode. So we can help you create those personalization. I won't call it personalization. Let's call it customization. It is not so much one-to-one level, but at least you can start customizing the communication to these users. And over a period of time, you can hope that at least 30% of your distribution effort is on the user that you're able to drive to your content is from your direct efforts. And 70% can keep coming from walled gardens, from various other avenues that you might open in future. But at least 30%, if you're in control, then you are a good business.
Okay. So every time I release a new episode, I can send out a notification. Neil Kathari's episode now live. Like learn
Absolutely.
about. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
absolutely.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And what about the email thing here? So
Yeah, yes. You can email. We're going live next month. Email also, absolutely just like that. Every time you release an episode, you can send out an email. The latest episode of with Neel Kothari iZooto is live. Here's the snippet from that. I had a lot of fun. Click here to listen in. And then
and you'll give us a widget to collect the email. Like we can
absolutely, absolutely.
put a widget, which an iZooto widget, which will ask people to subscribe to
iZooto has
our
got
free
nothing to
episode.
do. Nobody will see iZooto no. Anyway,
Yeah, right. Like a white label widget.
it'll be absolutely white label for you. You will be able to customize that visit in some way. The placement or what you want to write and the colors, etc. And people will sign up. It's a slow process. It's a painful process. It's time consuming, but you will see the
So,
value over few years.
and what will this cost me if I was to
It
go
won't,
without sponsoring, like without the sponsored posts?
it won't cost you anything. Just start. It's free for you for 12 months. Post 12 months, we talk.
Okay.
Just be our pilot partner for every other feature that we launch.
Okay.
Allow us to
Okay.
experiment, launch new features with you, and we'll do something.
If you like the Founder Thesis podcast, then do check out our other shows on subjects like marketing, technology, career advice, books, and drama. Visit thepodium.in, that is thepodium.in, for a complete list of all our shows.
Before we end the episode, I want to share a bit about my journey as a podcaster. I started podcasting in 2020, and in the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to interview more than 250 founders who are shaping India's future across sectors. If you also want to speak to the best minds in your field and build an enviable network, then you must consider becoming a podcaster. And the first step to becoming a podcaster starts with Zencaster, which takes care of all the nuts and bolts of podcasting, from remote recording to editing to distribution and finally monetization. If you are planning to check out the platform, then please show your support for the Founder Thesis podcast by using this link, zen.ai/founder thesis. That's zen.ai/founder thesis.